What you're seeing here is a massive human chain. One that was supposed to go all across the United States of America. It was May 25th, 1986. Everyone in these lines pledged a minimum of $10 to participate in Hands Across America, an event that was supposed to raise money to help the hunger crisis going on in the United States at the time. But what was supposed to be an event with good intentions ultimately failed and was really strange. Before we get to that, we need to go back just a bit to what inspired this crazy idea. In 1985, Ken Cragen, an American film producer, was inspired by the star-studded song We Are the World, which featured Michael Jackson, Bruce Springsteen, and whoever else was relevant at the time. For whatever reason, Cragen thought it would be a good idea for people across America to join hands in order to stop the domestic hunger issues plaguing America at the time. I know this is a super weird line of thinking to solve a hunger crisis, but keep in mind, the 80s were chock full of strange events, from massive balloon launches to people fighting over Cabbage Patch dolls. Just like We Are the World, Hands Across America even had their own theme song, performed by the band Toto. The music video for the song also had its fair share of star power, featuring Robin Williams, Oprah, and Kevin Bacon in the music video, but it wasn't nearly as popular as the event holders wanted it to be. It peaked at just 65 on the Billboard charts for the year. This is far from We Are the World, which hit number 1 on the Billboard charts back in 1985. But despite all this, people still came out for the event. The numbers can be a little iffy, but it ranged somewhere between 5 to 6 million people. From New York City all the way to Santa Monica in California, people lined up across the country from city to city. It didn't hit every city though, which people were upset about, just these ones here. And each area the line hit had their own special attraction. The line in Columbus, Ohio, for example, had Michael J. Fox, and Memphis, Tennessee was unfortunately met with 54 of their finest Elvis impersonators. And those weren't the only weird things that happened. Baptisms occurred, weddings, and even a bar mitzvah. And this was only in the span of 15 minutes, as that was as long as the line had lasted. Tons of different people participated in the line, families, children, even prisoners. But despite this, it still wasn't enough people to make the line from one end to the country to the next. There were still massive gaps in it. There were cities that had 5 times the amount of people they needed, and places like Indiana had only half their people show up. Some bus drivers who happened to be working during the event would tell their passengers to get out of their bus if they saw a gap in the line in order to help complete the chain. The president at the time, Ronald Reagan, was even in the line as well, even though he was criticized for doing so. This had to do with people saying he wasn't doing enough to combat the hunger crisis in the country, along with tons of other things he wasn't doing. Not only that, but the week of the event, he said this: "No one is going hungry in America simply by reason of denial or lack of ability to feed them." He essentially cited the hunger of America to people being poor and lazy. And this hunger crisis may have been the least of America's worries at the time. This was around the height of the AIDS epidemic happening in America, something that Reagan believed barely existed, along with the war on drugs taking full effect as well. What was supposed to be an event that was going to bring people together may have been doing the complete opposite, and might have just shown that people cared about hanging out in line for 15 minutes, hoping to get on the news and maybe hang out with some celebrities. I mean, this event didn't solve the hunger crisis, not even close. The $50 million it aimed to raise for the issue at hand ended up being around $15 million. This was after the event itself cost $17 million in total. And thousands of people who lined up for the event didn't even pay the $10 fee that they originally pledged. So although this may have been a cool and interesting moment in American history, it goes to show that people might not be doing these things to actually help people. They might be doing it for a good photo, a good story, and maybe getting the chance to meet Michael Jackson.
Felt the kiss of countless dreams. I wish I had a home.